Marian Bruno. I am one of the co-founders of the Chesapeake Fibershed. Here today also is Gretchen Frederick, who's also one of the co-founders. We are, as you know, Gretchen is owner of Solitude Wool. I'm a fiber artist, and we started this a while back, but we're still a grassroots fledgling organization that's trying to make its way here in the Chesapeake area. Right now, the actual group is about a steering committee of 8 of us, and we just made our website live, and we are affiliated with the Fibershed.org out in California, which was the start of the Fibershed movement. How I came to be interested in the Fibershed was that I was once looking for a breed-specific wool as a felter and wasn't sure where to go, so I called around and thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a directory? And that then put me in contact with Gretchen and with Martha Polke. And the rest is history. We've now grown a little bit beyond that. One of the things people always ask is, what is a fiber shed? And in a few words, it's basically a regionally based fiber system. And from that, I always tell people, think farm to table, but think farm to closet. Instead of the slow movement for food, we're talking about the fiber market and from what you put on your body and where it comes from. One of the things the Fibershed is very interested in doing is making those connections along every step of the supply chain as far as locally grown fibers and all the way up to the users. And, and we want to include everyone who's in the process, be it the farmer, rancher, the processors, the mills, artists, designers, manufacturers. And what we're looking at is, are the dyes, are the fibers, and is the labor also sourced locally? And what we're hoping to do is that by creating a network amongst all of these, producers and users, that we can strengthen our local textile community. And from that point, help to, I'm getting ahead of myself here, reduce climate, effects, as well as create this community that lets people know what fibers are out there. I think many of us have had this situation where someone is shocked at the cost of a skein of wool, but if you actually look at what goes into the making of that beautiful wool, if you go in to look what takes a person to make a handmade garment, it is an amazing process with a lot of hands touching it. So by way of background, the Fibershed was, I mentioned, started out in California by a woman named Rebecca Burgess back in 2010. And this was her own journey started this, and it was a project where she wanted to source her entire wardrobe in a 150-mile radius from where she was. And that put her in contact with local makers, local knitters, fiber producers, and farms. And it ended up being much harder than she thought to get the product to make her own wardrobe. And then she also realized that she couldn't make it all herself. And when she started the project, she thought, oh, well, there've got to be all these resources here, I just don't know about them. And she did find that they lacked milling, they lacked other services in their area. So this 150-mile radius, she ended up teaming up with this group of artisans and producers and farmers, and it created a dialogue, and it really was an interesting project. She was successful, she made that, and by telling her story, she grew this into a 501c3 company that now promotes the whole concept of this local dye, local fiber, and local labor, as well as has expanded into an affiliate program, which includes us and people all over the world that are trying to source their fibers and their labor close at hand. And it's been interesting how much of that infrastructure is gone. It's something that people thought, manufacturing is gone, fast fashion is the way of the world. And she's very much wanting to change that. And I think that's something all of us who are involved in our local fiber community can relate to and feel very strongly about. So over the years, they went well beyond, the Fibershed went well beyond her initial, make a wardrobe within a year that she could wear. And it now sponsors textile, like carbon farming, which I'm not going to talk about because I'm not a farmer, and I'm sure there are people with much greater expertise than myself in these areas. but the idea that she does have is she set up this affiliate program, is that within each community, that the community manages its resources, that the community is able to connect and make what we might think are unusual connections, like perhaps a fashion student with a farmer, so that they learn to understand where that fiber comes from, and that they can then use those fibers in their own designs. It's connecting, you know, we often think of like the Fiber Festival, where hobbyists and come and they buy fiber for their own use, but thinking bigger than that, that how do we make this economy so that people actually can wear a wardrobe that's sourced within their region. And you know, her project is expanded to include grazing practices and tilling and a lot of farming activities that we haven't quite touched on yet here in the Chesapeake. I mean, as I mentioned, we're just starting out. People might want to know, why do we need a fiber shed here in the Chesapeake region? As we know, there are many, many groups that are doing amazing things here in the Chesapeake regional area. And that includes art guilds, we have universities, we have various associations for sheep farmers and other animal breeds. So we're not trying to reinvent any of that. We're just trying to unify all of these sources so that people have the ability to find what's available and actually think about using goods that help support the local community, as well as are better ecologically for all of us. I should mention that the Chesapeake Fibershed encompasses pretty much the Chesapeake watershed, which takes in the DC, Baltimore metropolitan area. You know, that's Maryland, Virginia, parts of Delaware, Pennsylvania. And so all of those, that area is rather large. It's a large metropolitan area, but somehow most people don't really have a good vision of what is available to them from our local producers. And so hopefully we can change that. Our mission statement at this point is to connect our local fiber resources and, you know, help support some of these sustainable practices, and kind of bridge that gap between producers and end users of fabrics and of fibers. Let's see. What else would I like to tell you about? We are affiliate, as I mentioned, we're an affiliate of the Fibershed org out in California. This gives us and people who are interested in our Fibershed access to their resources. They're about 10, 15 years ahead of us in the programs that they've helped support. And they're a great resource if people want to learn more about sustainable practices, both in farming and in clothing production. One of the difficulties that we originally came up with was that the Fibershed and what people want out of a local regional fiber system has varied. Everything from education to support for farmers, for support for ranchers, artisans are looking for fiber. There's so many things that we could do. And what we have realized is that before we can start trying to really build these networks, we need to find out who's in our network and who's in our Fibershed. And to that end, our first effort is we are trying now to map all of the resources within the Chesapeake Fibershed area. And by map them, we want to know who's making what, who's interested in what, and everyone who's involved in that cycle of fiber production. And to that end, we have on our website, we have a survey where people can hop on and take a short survey about what are their interests. We're also going to be sponsoring on November 8th, Sunday afternoon at 2, an online meet and greet so that people can talk more about what their needs are and what their wants are in their Fibershed. And hopefully that will give us more direction, because resources, we all know, are scarce. And we would like very much to help address the needs in the area. So getting to a good understanding of what we have and what we can work with will help us know where gaps are and where we as connectors can help make some good changes. In addition to mapping our resources, we're really working on the communication aspect of it. We would, hopefully when COVID is no longer with us, we can start farm visits. We can help sponsor maybe some students and farmers. There are lots of great ideas on educating the public as to how they can build this regional fiber community. And we're looking forward to doing those things when the environment allows for it. One of the things about the and one of the things I should mention is that on the Fibershed, they do have a concept. They call it soil to soil. And it's this idea that we start with, the animal fibers or the plant fibers, and those are in turn processed. Those are in turn made and designed into garments. The garments are worn, but then have them made of fibers that can be composted, that enrich the soil, that then go back to the farm and continue the cycle all the way around. You can learn more about all of Fibershed on the fibershed.org website, as well as going to the ChesapeakeFibershed.com website to learn more about what we're up to doing. Gretchen, would you like to add anything? Okay.
There. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, good. No, I think you covered it really well. I guess the only thing I would like to mention is that we really are an organization that encompasses all the states that are around us. We have a number of people on the steering committee that are from Maryland, who have been building connections there in the directory, and also West Virginia and someplace else. And Marian and Martha Polke and I are all here in Virginia. So we all have connections in with our different local areas and have slightly different interests. And we're trying to pull in more people to broaden this. But it's kind of exciting that it's the full Chesapeake Fibershed, because it includes Baltimore, it goes up into Pennsylvania. It doesn't include Philadelphia, but some of the areas near Philadelphia. So I think it has potential to be pretty exciting. I'm going to put up a little map here of the Chesapeake watershed, and we'll see. I'm just holding it, so it's sort of pitiful.
Yeah.
You can see it's really a pretty big area, but we are all connected. And in addition to that, there's a number of other fiber sheds, some of which are affiliated with California and some which are independent on the East Coast. Up in the, there's the Southeastern New England fiber shed and a New Jersey fiber shed, and
New York.
the New York fiber shed. There's a number of them. And you know, a lot of what we're doing does sort of move in and out of those areas as well. I don't know, what else?
What else can we tell you all? Does anyone have any questions?
Please feel free to unmute your line if you have a question, or if you want to, you can also put it in the chat.
Bethany, if somebody had questions later, where could they address them that we could find them and answer?
So is there an email address that you guys prefer that we could list?
It's ChesapeakeFibershed@gmail.com.
Very easy.
Very easy. And we do, you know, we do hope that people will go online and do our short survey so we kind of know about you and can reach out. Also, please tell your friends and colleagues if they're at all interested, that we would love to hear from them as well.
Okay. And I did put the overall I put your website as well as the Facebook group in the event description. So
saw that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll add the email address there too. Okay, let me see if there's, looks like we, could you link the survey in the chat, please? Okay, so if you guys can give me, maybe some, Marian, if you could maybe send me a link to the survey, I can add that in the description.
Okay.
So, thanks.
pull it up. These things always take too long. Okay, guys, I am technically challenged, so I didn't get, oh, hold on, there we go. There it goes. Okay, did it go through?
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm on my tablet, so it's a little hard for me to switch, but I'm doing okay.
There we go.
See it.
Thank you all for bearing with me. I'm still learning.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, are there any other questions? Thank you. Yes, we are all learning.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I apologize for the waiting room and my delay in letting anyone in. We had some issues this morning with a spammer, so we had to add that to all of our lives. So, okay. Well, thank you so much, Marian, and thank you, Gretchen, as well.
Thank you all.
And I hope everyone enjoys the festival. Make sure you check out the website to get any more live events that we have going on. We've got a circular sock knitting machine demo this afternoon, or this evening, I guess I should say. And we have a fiber mill tour tomorrow. So go to eventney.com. We're actually featured in their website. So thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
All right. Thank you
It looks
so
like
much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
See.
Recording's gone.